Random thoughts.
I just said
Randomness by Blake.
hold on. It is recorded, but it's just in case we do some funny stuff right now.
Impossible.
It says Ryan enter the waiting room. Admit. I
I
saw
need
it.
to have, well, I'm gonna have this, so I have a two camera angle.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he's so awesome. You make me so mad. Oh
Two
my
angles of this. I don't know what do you expect from me.
Whose show is this? Oh, this is what happens when you invite a real videographer on the podcast.
So,
This is fantastic. That's so funny, dude. Oh man. Are you really doing this? I mean, I like it, but
Double the fun, man.
I think it's
what you
hilarious.
do is get a shot of the action, like
Yes. I really need you in my life, dude. You should see all the podcasts I've jacked up. What do you have you're standing on? A candle? Your laptop?
the candle.
Yeah, dude. If you could see mine, it's a footstool and then a big old tub. I swear. I'll take a picture of it so I can post it when we.
If you put it down on the desk, it get a shot of the ceiling. So
I know.
I gotta fix this.
I know, that's hilarious. Hey, I may keep all this in. So here we go, guys. Welcome back to Talk Your Walk. Sorry it's been a while. I have recorded 2 episodes that have completely failed, but it is what it is. So I had some big news from my cousin Derrick that I've been waiting to hear from. So I knew I had to get something out. And then I actually reached out to his sister as well, but she's a loser. So we got who we really wanted, and that's her husband, Ryan Black. So I am joined by my cousin Derrick Graves and my cousin-in-law, Ryan Black. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Blake? How are you doing? Derrick, good to see you again. I know it's been a week since I saw you last. So
it's been like almost 2 weeks now.
Oh my God, time flies.
I know. I was going through withdrawals. I was so excited. You said you're going to be on.
So you guys just spent what, a week together or a few days together on vacation?
Not enough time in my book.
Yeah.
Almost a week. Derrick came over up here to Tennessee for a couple days, and then we all went over to Carolina there to spend some time at the beach. So
So for those that have listened to some of my past podcasts, you've seen my cousin Derrick on here before. He was actually my very first guest. It was a pretty lengthy one, but it's definitely worth listening to if you haven't, because we really dove in. I have a crying baby. Can you guys hear that?
No,
come on down.
Is it yours?
Real life,
or is this?
I hope. Evie. All right. Well, this is real life. Hold on one second.
You just wanted to be
Come
on
here,
the
baby. Yeah, you went on the podcast. Come here. Do you miss Derrick and Ryan? What's wrong? What do you need?
Okay.
Mommy wants you to go to bed. All right. Parenting 101. Just ignore them. They'll eventually go away. So this is my life. Yeah.
Hey, Blake, how many do you have now?
That's 17 and a half. So I lost track. I lost track after 2.
Some King Solomon math right there.
That's my 3rd one. I don't know if I'm gonna edit any of that out, so we're just rolling with it.
I guarantee everybody that knows you and knows your family is probably cracking up right now. They're like, "Oh, that's typical."
Yeah, exactly.
We've been at his house before. We know exactly what goes on.
Yeah, it always happens right when you hit record too, you know. So
always.
But anyways, yeah. So on the previous podcast with Derrick, we kind of led up to the fact that he has finally reached out to his father, has actually had communication with him on the phone. But the trip that him and Ryan and Jada and also Derrick's wife Vanessa and Jameson, and I'm sure your kids were there too, right, Ryan?
Yeah. Tyler and Micah were there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everyone basically got to meet Derrick's dad for the first time. So I'm just gonna let you kind of roll with it, Derek. Kind of set up, how it went down, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Just an interesting experience, very surreal. But I will tell you that when you meet someone for the first time in 45 years, you think, oh man, it's going to be so great the first time you shake hands and you actually lock and make eye contact. And what I didn't realize is that I kind of spoiled it in a way by doing so many FaceTimes with him. After we initially talked on the phone, we started doing FaceTimes, and so you kind of forget how technology um, can unintentionally keep you from having that moment. So it was a little bit like, yeah, we've seen each other before, so we're just reconnecting type feel, as opposed to the grand, like, oh my gosh, this is what you look like. This is my first time seeing
Right.
you. So it wasn't anything like that, but it was certainly a very surreal moment because, he gets out of the car when they show up, and I mean his daughter, Christina, who's my sister, who I met as well. And then her daughter, my father's granddaughter, her name is Jada. So three of them and his dog Ginger. So they had a whole carload. They came down to see us, and it was just really cool to have Jade and Ryan there. Obviously, my wife and daughter with us, my two nieces. That was kind of the big bonus for me, is to share that moment with my closest family members. And
Right.
yeah, it was really great. So I was very thankful for the opportunity, and obviously, we shook hands, gave each other a nice firm hug, and just kind of enjoyed the moment. We only spent about 4 or 5 hours or so with one another. It was a quick meeting, but they drove about 2.5 hours to the beach that we were at. We were just south of Wilmington, North Carolina, and yeah, it was great. Walked over to the beach, chatted for a bit, had a nice extended lunch with them. They came back to the beach house for maybe 30, 45 minutes. We did pictures. That's where Jada shined with all of her crazy ideas for pictures, which is very typical for our family. Ryan was there with all of his equipment. So, it was kind of just really neat how it all worked out, but definitely awesome. And I just cannot imagine, or I can't really believe how easy it has been once I decided to reach out in March. And then, 3 months later, I'm meeting my dad, and he has certainly made it as easy as possible for me.
It's
And
it's cra-
it's been
it's
awesome.
crazy. It's crazy to think you go 45 years and all it took was 3 months.
Right.
Think about that, dude.
Yeah.
45 years and all it took was 3 months.
Yeah. Well, that
It's
tells you how
crazy.
small our world is,
Yeah.
really in the end. Because at the time frame that I was born and he left, to go to North Carolina to work with his brothers, my uncles, there was no way to track one another down. And so, he did tell me he was very glad that I was able to find him, because he had no clue where we were, where we had gone, so on and so forth. So that was kind of neat to hear him say that. So it certainly sounds like he's, really appreciative that I reached out. So
So did you feel that was a genuine when he says he came back to try to find you? Do you think it was a search, a seek, or do you think it was, oh well, they're gone? I mean, could you get that feel from him?
well, we really haven't gone down that path too far. We kind of touched on it briefly one of our conversations, and I think I mentioned that in the original podcast that
Yeah.
he and my mom were kind of a thing on the side, because he was married at that time and separated from his wife. So he was just laying low, and he left to go to North Carolina for a while. He came back a year or two later, and he stated that he wondered where we went. That's not it's more of a paraphrase. It's not an exact quote. So I think maybe he might have tried to ask around a little bit, but I don't really know to what extent he tried to track us down and find us. But all of that is kind of water under the bridge, I guess, is the best metaphor I can come up with, because
Right.
it doesn't matter to me. It's really insignificant. He's lived his life. He's gone 43 years, because he saw me when I was just about 2 years old. I'm 45, so he went 43 years without seeing me. And I think the most impressive thing is that he was, willing to give his phone number out to someone who claimed to be his son from Indianapolis, when my cousin
Yeah.
connected with him. So that, to me, that was the real telltale sign of a pretty good guy who might have just been wanting to correct a little something in the past by,
Yeah.
giving out his number and connecting with a possible son. So
Now, Ryan, did you record anything, or did you just kind of lay low?
I did. I recorded. I was up on the balcony filming when they first met each other, so I have that footage that
Oh,
I would make a little video for Derrick with that. So and throughout the whole day, kind of getting clips and snippets, and so I know it's going to be a memorable moment, and you want to make sure you capture as much as you can with that. So
see you and I, it's so fun because like you and I think alike, right? Like I look at everything as a moment. Like when, like literally, and Derek confessed to this, literally when he told me about seeing him and eventually meeting him, I immediately said, you have to get Ryan there. Like however you meet him, you have to bring him. You have to, right? He's shaking his head. Yeah, I mean, like you had to video this, man. So I was so glad that you were going, because I would have been Instagram storing it the whole time. I wouldn't even have cared.
Well, that was the hard part is I didn't want to be on top of them, getting the footage that I really want, so I was back further than, because I didn't want him to feel uncomfortable. Like, who is this stranger?
Yes.
So it was a little further back than I like, but I'll do my best with what I got. So
yeah, it's definitely different when you're being paid to video something, and then when you're just trying to low key capture some cool moments,
yeah, that's for sure.
So Derek, were you nervous? Were your nerves a mess? Or did you feel sick to your stomach? Or did you just, or like you said, did the FaceTime kind of spoil it to where you just felt like you were just about to just, physically meet him for the first time?
Well, I was that nervous at all. And I really think the FaceTime experience probably took away whatever level of nervousness I had at the very beginning. Talking with him the first couple of times, it was a little different because you didn't really know what to say or what questions to ask, and you wanted to avoid certain questions because those things are not that important to me, relative to the past and why he wasn't around or whatever. I don't really care what those reasons were, or excuses, whatever you wanted to offer. It doesn't matter. But not really nervous. I think I was more worried that he would just feel comfortable with us, so that down the road he'd be open to other opportunities, whether he were to ever visit Texas or if we go back out to North Carolina, he'd be up for it and excited about it, and it wouldn't be a drag for him. But it's funny because yes, Blake, you did recommend that Ryan be with us, and I didn't necessarily plan like, Ryan J, you have to be there with us. We were going to go on vacation anyway. It just worked out to where we all thought North Carolina was a good idea. At the same time, I was talking with my dad, and so I feel very blessed that the timing worked out, and that Jay and Ryan were ready to vacation with us wherever we decided. So they showed a lot of great flexibility in that, and then it worked out to my benefit in a very selfish way, but the good kind of selfishness, I guess.
That's you want that documented, man. That's
Oh yeah, and I couldn't have had a better person, because Ryan did exactly what he said. He stayed back, was very professional. And Ryan, I don't know if you heard it or not, but after he got out of the car and we shook hands, I did mention, I had my brother-in-law on the balcony taking pictures. He's a professional. He carries a camera wherever he goes. I was trying to soften it up a little bit. But no, it was great because, Jada is the ultimate conversationalist, right? I mean, she talked to a brick wall and be best friends with it by, noontime. So it's like, she was great.
Only trumped by Micah. Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
Micah. Oh my gosh, Bill. That's what I was worried about. Is like, he's going to get overwhelmed by my two girls for sure. So
did he?
Well, I don't think so. He seemed very cool. Now I'll say this. One thing that shocked me is how much he was like Derrick's Grandpa Graves.
Yes.
What he reminded me of. So just really soft and quiet, and then and of course my wife and my daughter just Derrick talked about not being nervous, but we were nervous, and so my wife and my daughter both, they start chatting when they're nervous because they don't want any awkwardness going on at all. So they were just chatty. So.
Oh man, I wish I could have been there. But I mean, sometimes being chatty like that, like you said, it does help the environment though. It starts conversations. I mean, did he seem to enjoy Jada as well? Or I mean, I'm sure Jada was a riot.
Oh, I told him, I said, look, I said, you get me, you get her, because it's a 2-for-1 deal. And so
Yeah.
we had, little jokes like that. But Jada was great because, I mean, she just treated them like they were family.
Yeah.
Well, since he was so quiet, Jada drugged his daughter and granddaughter into the conversation, so they were just all going at
Oh
it.
yeah.
That's
So
that's
I feel like they all felt really welcomed and accepted. We were just here, very excited to meet them. They could tell that. So
yeah. Well, from the one picture that you posted, Derek, like just the way your sister's hugging you, like you could just tell there was like oh, like you could see that she was happy. It'd be your stepsister, obviously, right? Yeah.
Yeah, half sister.
Yeah. Oh, half sister. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I get all that confused.
One step above.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How many competitive jokes were made between your two favorite sisters now?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even think of that, or I would have been pushing that one pretty hard.
Oh, next time.
Now you can.
Yeah. Two
Yeah.
half sisters right here.
Yeah.
I heard Derek started a podcast with his other sister.
I don't know if Derek showed you this picture. Do you see that picture?
Okay, that Ryan, oh my gosh.
Is that Derek? Why do you look 300 pounds?
Ryan, you need to preface before you show stuff like that.
Oh my God. Is that you in 30 years?
No, it's Ryan in about 30 seconds of editing. He gave me like a Coach Bob Knight belly.
Stretched out his forehead. So it's half back like this.
Yeah, my forehead is like 12 inches tall. It's ridiculous. It's amazing what Ryan can do with photos. He's got a lot out there.
Yeah, and that's the downside of having a brother-in-law that's so good with pictures.
Exactly.
It's kind of a tradition. Every time we get together, I gotta do a Photoshop.
Yeah, I usually get like a puffed up forehead and a big booty Judy pic. And this one, he gave me a big beer belly, so that was interesting.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
So what did your wife think of the whole situation? And I know she didn't seem to act any different. She's just her normal quiet self. But what do you think she was thinking going through this?
No, I think she thought it went well. She wasn't nervous or anxious about anything. She's Vanessa, so she's calm, cool, collected in just about every situation. She thought he was, a very nice man, and she knows how, he seemed to be naturally quiet. Then, I mean, you're almost a 70-year-old guy. You lived your life pretty much on your own. I can imagine he was probably a little, maybe nervous himself, not knowing what to say. So,
did you sense that nerves from him?
No, I really didn't. I think he is like completely comfortable with himself in every way. I don't think he suffers fools at all. I think he's very confident in what he's done in life. And if he doesn't like you, he's probably not going to hang out with you or talk to you. He just seems to be like, I don't have time for this. I'm only going to be with family and the people I want to talk to.
Yeah.
And
now were there things that you do that he does, maybe characteristics or your demeanors or anything, or maybe even your thoughts? Was there anything just kind of caught you like, oh well, I kind of stand like that, or I whatever?
I didn't see anything from my end. I mean, we obviously talked about NASCAR because we have some I guess things that we share in common with NASCAR. That we talked about several times. And then, once we met and had lunch, we talked a little bit about NASCAR again. So, but as far as like physical traits or attributes, I didn't really catch anything. He has light eyes. I have light colored eyes. I think we pretty much will wind up with the same type of hair, mosquito landing pad in the back, big foreheads, but that's really it. He is kind of a smaller man. He's not a large man at all. Very, narrow.
He's quite a bit smaller than you are.
Yeah.
Especially with your head stretched out.
Yeah, especially with that 300-pound look you gave me. So it just dwarfed my father.
dwarfed him.
he made your dad look a lot better than you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Conveniently.
One of you two are aging really well.
He's almost 70. He looks great.
Yeah, exactly. No
So you
wrinkles or
mentioned,
anything.
one of y'all mentioned my sister, Christina. I think Blake, you said just a few seconds ago about how she hugged me in the picture. And I noticed that too. And I noticed that it just sounded like, and I'm basing this on the text message exchange we had once we got back into town. She texted me on Monday, July 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the day off. I was outside running some errands, and she sent me a text in the morning thanking us for coming out there and seeing them, and what a great thought it was to have family that she had just, learned she had, and looking forward to the next time we could be together. And she said, I really think it's awesome that I can call you my brother. And so some of these things that I'm starting to infer, because she hasn't said it herself, but it just seems like she's excited about the idea of having another sibling, because she was raised as the only child by my dad and her mother. And I don't know if she has a very good relationship with the two older children that my father have that are well into their 50s now.
No,
So
really.
yeah, I think she just likes the idea of having a sibling that's a little bit closer to her in age. I think we're about 6 or 7 years apart, something like that. And, being a brother that she had not met before was just really cool to her. And she seemed to click well with everybody. So I just thought that was really neat. But I did notice in the pictures, she just seemed to be that Southern, very friendly, warm, welcoming. When you hug people, right? You don't keep any separation between you. You get in there and make it count, So I just thought that was really cool. So
you could tell she was very comfortable with being around you, and just like, yeah, I found him. And
yeah,
that's so. I mean, do you think that relationship will grow? I mean, do you guys think you guys will have conversations just about whatever? I mean, is there? I'm sure there's some common grounds there.
Yeah, and I'm at the point now where it's like, how often do I text or reach out to them? I don't know if they want to hear from us regularly or every so often. So I'm just trying to play that by ear. But I think they certainly seem like the type of people that they don't mind having a relationship, and exchanging phone calls and pictures is right down their alley. My father did say that we would do something again in the future, and sooner than later type conversation took place, and I thought that was really good. Now it was kind of funny because Jada had something directly in common with Christina and her daughter Jada, which is amazing that we'd have two Jadas in the same room, right? I mean,
yeah,
who would have thought?
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. But what they had in common was my sister and her daughter, they go to beauty pageants. And so when they mentioned that, Jada obviously reflected back to her time when she entered in a beauty contest. And so that was great fun, because we got to reminisce those stories, which several stories came out of that experience. Obviously Jada didn't share all that with Christina and her daughter, but they did have that in common, that experience to go out in front of people and take those tough questions and smile the whole time and look beautiful. There's a lot of pressure to that. So that was interesting.
Dumb questions.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot that she did that. Man, that'd be funny to hear her talk about. So I'm sure that was entertaining.
Yeah, and Blake, it's funny because what I remember from that was the ridiculous question that Jada received right at the final event, and I remember your grandmother, Carol, making fun of me afterwards because she said she got to laughing because I was walking so stiff, and she thought I was walking like I was bow-legged. And I remember her laughing at me afterwards, because I had to escort Jada out on stage, for the final event or during the fancy dress, whatever they call that, the gown, because they had to wear different outfits. And I had to walk Jada out. So I was her escort on stage. And your grandma Carol cracked up afterwards, talking about how bow-legged I was. I was walking so stiff and just very rigid. And oh my gosh, I just
you probably
always remember that.
You probably had an insecurity.
Well, it's why I walk weird. That's why I walk weird now.
Yeah.
30 years later.
Isn't it funny though that like little comments like that, just like out of everything that happened that day, for whatever reason, that little comment of you getting off the stage and finding out grandma was laughing at you. That's what sticks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it must have hit you in some way, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean, she laughed about a lot of the things I did. She, obviously your grandma Carol was a character.
Oh, she was.
Yeah. And she was always fun to hear laugh anyway. I thought she was great. But I just remember her making fun of me. And then I remember Jada's question. Now, I think if I remember correctly, Jada won Miss Congeniality. I don't think she finished in the top 3, but she got Miss Congeniality or something like that. But the question that eliminated her from the final 3 spots was something in relationship. And can you imagine a 12-year-old being asked this, or 13-year-old, however old Jada was? I can't remember. But
I can't believe she went into a beauty pageant.
Hey, that's your cousin.
I thought that was borderline like hellish behavior with the way
from our church group.
Yeah. I mean,
well, Jada did have to repent, get saved again, get baptized.
The pastor's daughter was in the same pageant.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. I forgot Jenny was in that one. That's right. So it was fully sanctioned. It was good.
It was Jesus. It was Jesus-fied. It
was Jesus-fied.
Yeah.
But then they asked Jada. Oh, yeah. Well, that sanctifies everything.
Yeah. They had Chick-fil-A nuggets there. Everything was okay.
Yeah. It was sponsored by God's Chicken. They asked my sister what her thoughts were relative to the positives and negatives of school uniforms.
Really?
Why would you ask a 12 or 13-year-old in a beauty pageant that type of question? That's for like a college student, running for student council or something. I don't know. That was weird.
Because you guys wore sweatpants to play basketball in. So
well,
it was obviously an issue of what you guys wore.
Yeah, well, they had no idea. And I'm glad they didn't have any pictures to display.
Because we didn't play volleyball in.
Oh, yeah. The cool lot. The volleyball cool lots. Those will live on forever.
Yeah, our girls might have been more competitive had they worn, traditional volleyball uniforms. They could have moved a little bit faster.
They weren't sweating from the waist down.
Right. They were dehydrated by the 10th point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. But it was great. I mean, like I said, just having Ryan and Jada there and my wife, and for my daughter to meet, a new grandpa.
Did Jameson have much to say?
Not a lot, because she was there with her cousin. So, once it was, the exchanging of pleasantries was over with, she was off and running with her cousin. So she didn't get to spend much time with him. It's fine.
Yeah.
She did the handshake and hug and
it's not like she's gonna sit there and chat it up with them.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, not too many kids that age, are going.
She's just like, here's my address for the Christmas present in 6 months. So.
Yes, this is my birthday. That's what you're gonna really want to remember.
Yep. So
that's funny.
That's what.
Well, that's cool, man. Right? Well, I'm happy, dude. I've been waiting to kind of talk to you about it. So
yeah.
So
good
that's
times.
Good. Now I'm sure your mom Wanda's dying to know if he, mentioned her at all.
That was funny because the whole time leading up to it, Wanda was texting us and called like, "What are you guys doing?"
I was with her.
She was like,
4th of July.
Out, and I need to know what's going on. It was funny. She's like, every 5 minutes, "What are you guys doing now? What's going on?"
Yeah. Well, I had talked with your mom and my mom right before they pulled up, about 30 minutes before, and they both told me they had butterflies. They were very nervous. And I thought, why are you guys nervous? You're like 1,000 miles away. But I get it, because it's your mom, my mom. It's what they do,
Yeah, they're just obviously they're just excited.
Oh yeah.
For you.
It was funny, but my mom obviously wanted to know even weeks in advance, a countdown. What is it going to happen, and what time, and which day, and where's it going to take place? She was just. I really think my mom was very, very happy at the opportunity for me to meet my dad, and I think in some ways this is just my personal take. She hadn't told me anything. I haven't asked her this question. I'm just making an assumption here, or an observation. I think she feels a little bit relieved, actually, that I get to meet my father. Just as she, I think, feels very, very unfortunate for Jada, because her situation turned out opposite, where, unfortunately she did not meet her dad once she found out who he was. And so I think she feels both of those things for us. And, I think she maybe even subconsciously, there might be a level of closure there in a way. Once again, just my words. But she's been very supportive the whole time. Not one time did she ever worry that it might be a bad thing. Because once I told her, all the details that he provided me, she said, there's no way that's not your dad. He knows all those details that no one else on this planet would know.
Right.
So yeah, she's been very supportive, and I had a long talk with her this week. Kind of gave her all the details, and she seemed very happy, and I could hear it in her voice.
Yeah. She was beyond excited for you, man. I mean, the little talks I had with her over the holiday weekend or whatever. I know she was super excited for you. So that's cool,
Yeah.
man. It's a little bit of a chapter somewhat closed in your book. I'm sure there's a little bit of relieved. I mean, like we said in the first podcast, I don't think it was something you really you didn't really let it affect your life. I mean, like we've said, you've been fortunate to have other men in your life to kind of, help guide you, but it's still cool that, he's able to
Oh, yeah.
at least meet the man,
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
cool.
Yep. And if he didn't want to do anything, going forward for whatever reason, I'd still be, pretty content, pretty happy
Right.
to a degree. But he's such a nice guy, and he's been so warm and welcoming and accepting. It just makes you kind of want to develop that relationship, to whatever extent, he wants it developed. So I'm just,
Right.
Flexible, not too high, not too low, just
Right.
be natural. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So Ryan, how's Tennessee, man? Coming from California to Tennessee, what's that been like?
It's been mostly great.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just living in a small town, and everybody here is so friendly and nice, and we have more friends in our neighborhood in the first year than we had in 7-8 years in our last house there in California. Because everybody's just really reaches out and makes you feel welcome here. It's really cool. The downside is for Jada is, man, I had no idea it rained that much here. I mean, it's
Really?
like Oregon weather. I mean, it rains 3-4 times a week. I mean, it's
Really?
yeah. So I just did. I had no
So
idea.
so does that affects Jada quite a bit?
Yeah, the no sunshine is really. And I mean, one of the things you don't know when you live in California for 17 years and you got almost 99% sunshine, and you get here and you got 40% sunshine.
Yeah.
You just really start missing that. So
Yeah. Make sure she's popping vitamin D if nothing else.
So there's things that like we're building a patio in our backyard, so that's covered so that she can go somewhere even if it is raining outside, and we just got our swimming pool done, so we have a swimming pool now back there.
That's nice.
So I'm trying to make it feel more like home for her, and she's definitely a trooper there, trying to just make that adjustment.
Right.
Unexpected. I had no idea. No idea. So.
So you didn't realize the weather would be such a difference.
Yeah.
So
When Jen and I met, we lived in Oregon at the time, and to me it reminds me of Oregon weather on the coast there, where it's cloudy a lot, especially in the winter, and it just rains, and that comes with a lot of humidity as well. So it kind of torturous. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got to be tough coming from California. There's a reason why everybody, wants to live there. It's so beautiful, and it's, the weather's so nice all year round. And, and I mean, even in the winter months, I'm definitely not as, happy. It's like, it's dreadful. I always talk about this, like in the winter months, man, when you're especially living in Indiana, you might be outside for like 3 or 4 minutes on the day if you work inside, because it's literally run to your car, get in, start it up, get to work, run into work, run out for lunch, grab your lunch, run back into, you don't ever go outside because it's so cold, so it definitely affects you.
Yeah, we don't have quite the extreme cold that you guys have up there, but we did get a little bit of snow on Christmas Day this year, which was kind of cool, but it lasts for a day and then it melts off. So,
well, hopefully she'll learn to love the 4 seasons again.
yeah, and we love fall. It's so beautiful. There's so many trees around here, and it's so beautiful. And I'm talking to my neighbor. Talked to me. He did a some sort of research paper in college about that disorder where you sink into a deep depression because of lack of sunshine, and so he
Mm-hmm.
developed he built these kits, basically UV lights that you can sit in front of for 5 minutes a day or so to help give you whatever that, I don't know what the chemical in your brain, but it helped revive that. So we
Wow.
do things like that, so kind of to supplement, even if it's artificially, that.
It's cool that we're getting to the point where it's like you can really like pinpoint, different things in the body that's just not getting, and that's why it's affecting you a specific way. And it's cool. I don't know if that's a new thing or if that's been around for a while, but I mean, it sounds like it's new.
Yeah, and it is a hard thing dealing with. That's a hard thing when you don't understand a mental illness. Not that I say my wife mentally ill, but it's a something mentally in her head that she just needs that sun. And me trying to be compassionate about that and understand
Yeah.
and shine the flashlight in her face as much as I can.
You're like just stare into
Smile,
this.
smile.
It's so funny. Oh crap. Jada. Yeah, no, that's funny. So I guess what made you leave Cali? I know it was kind of getting crazy there, especially during all the political, stuff that was going on, but
um, we're a very conservative family, and so living in the very liberal California was it was just draining. I feel like you're surrounded by the enemy almost. So
yeah.
and then trying to run a business there, they have so much red tape and regulation on business. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then on top of that, you have taxes. The taxes are so high on everything: income tax, sales tax, gas tax. Gas is almost $5 a gallon out there. Property
Jeez.
tax is ridiculous. And so we just started thinking about what do we want out of life? What do we yeah. So we just started searching for something different. And originally we were talking about going to Dallas, be by Derrick, and then we went and visited Derrick, and we're like, we do not want to live by Derrick.
No, I tried it, dude. I had 6 months and I was like, nope, not
Nope.
enough milk, not enough milk in this state.
Not enough meat in that house. No.
That's more like it.
Yeah. There's plenty of milk with all the cows, right?
We got plenty of cows. That's not a problem.
One thing, but we went and visited Dallas that Christmas before we moved here, and we realized, man, this is a bigger city than Sacramento. It's like, and so we were just looking for something slower, and my uncle approached me and actually we came out to Tennessee for my grandparents' 70th wedding anniversary, and we spent some time here driving around, just saw how beautiful it was. And my uncle approached me and said, hey, I hear you're thinking about moving out of California. He says, I have a company here that I'm wanting to retire someday. Why don't you come and take it over from me? And so, you went back and you pray about it and you talk about it and weigh the options. Is like, this kind of checks off all the boxes that we were looking for, so very conservative. Tennessee is conservative in general, and we're in the most conservative county in the whole state, and small town, and we have some family here, and it's like, so we just kind of pulled the trigger and jumped.
It just felt right.
It did.
It sounds like it. So what, if you want to elaborate, so what are you doing now? What's your career right now?
We own a HVAC company, heating and air company.
Okay.
Springdale Heating and Air. And so I'm kind of learning. I had some construction experience. I had a flooring business in California, and so I'm kind of from the ground up learning the HVAC world. Mm-hmm. And so I've done a little bit of everything, handling some of the marketing and website and public relations a little bit, and really jumped into sales once I knew enough to be able to sell it. Which I don't have any sales experience, but I'm really enjoying it, and you're doing really good at it. So
good.
So now and then you just grows with different aspects of the business. You're planning out jobs, you're designing ductwork, there's so many. Every single day is building ductwork. Every single day is something different. So it's really I don't know, just fun to have all these different things you get to do versus one thing every single day.
Right.
It's really challenging, and I've never worked so hard in my life. It's
really
go, and so it's fun. My uncle is 70 right now, and you would probably guess he was 50 the way he gets after it. And I mean, we're crawling under houses looking at ductwork, and he's leading the way. Just you would never guess he was that age. So
Really? So are you enjoying doing that type of work though? I mean, I guess doing floors, you're kind of used to. I know you weren't necessarily laying floors, right? You're just
yeah,
or
I did the business part of the flooring business. I did some installations, primarily wood floors, and then got my contractor's license and started doing the business part of it. And so in this is you kind of get a passion for HVAC eventually. You start because
yeah.
you start learning the science of it. And I know this is probably really boring for my wife if she's listening to this, but we were down in with Derrick down there in North Carolina, and all the kids are playing in the arcade. They're all getting tickets, and Derrick's out there, I don't know, playing his game, and I'm sitting there looking at the. I wonder how they did that. I'm like, I'm the ductwork because like I'm such a nerd, I'm
Yeah. Well,
design their ductwork for them so they get better airflow.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Ryan was doing that. I walked over and I asked him, so what are you doing? So he starts talking about, these duct works and the length, the run them. And Blake, I literally fell asleep and passed out on the floor within 15 seconds. It was crazy how fast I was out.
You're like, dude, I will never ask again what you do. No, it's so I worked for an old company, Clean Air Research, and we just basically just changed out air filters. So I know very, very little, very basics, check the belt, change the filter, sweep the air returns, but with that said, every time I walk into someplace, I look up at the air returns to see how dirty they are. Yeah, exactly. So I totally understand what you're saying. That's funny though.
And Derrick's over there. How does this ATM work?
Yeah. Why is no more money coming out?
Yeah. I'm on vacation. I'm making rain.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's cool, man. Well, I'm glad the transition. So are you still doing video and pictures or anything?
Not as much video, but I'm still doing as much pictures as I can. I love doing photography, and
Yeah.
we're getting plugged into a church, and I'm going to help with their broadcast team, and so I'll be running cameras again and doing all that stuff. And because it's hard to go without that. It feels almost like a withdrawal.
Isn't it hard to sit back and watch like even services or events or anything? Like I hate going to a wedding. Don't make me go to a wedding. I'll be like, why isn't the photographer taking that picture?
They're missing it. They're missing it. Why is the camera there? Oh, the lighting's awful.
Yes. And then sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I was good like them. I wish I knew how to bounce a flash like that guy right there,
Either way. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my photography's really slowed down a lot, but
why do you think
it's just hard. What's that?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's slowing down?
Oh, because I don't
up online. It seems like you're decently busy, I guess.
Well, it's because I don't promote, Ryan. I never have. I've never really put myself out there. I mean, I've got big ambitions of, I'd love to have a videographer with me while I'm doing pictures and showing the interactions with the families or with the, with weddings, just, I love, I've talked to Derrick about this plenty of times, and you have a similar personality, Ryan, where it's like you naturally are welcomed in a situation, right? Like people tend to like you. They tend to be glad that you're their photographer. And at the end of the day, dude, you were awesome. You were everywhere.
Very comfortable with you. Yeah.
Yes. And then when I always say this, when I drive home, I feel so fulfilled. I'm wore out, after a wedding, and I'm dreading having to edit all the pictures. Yes, but the actual like literally capturing the moments, like that's where the passion is. So yeah, I mean, I want to do that. I mean, it's fun. So I want to get more, and maybe you can help me know which path to go. But I would love to just do events. Like, I mean, besides just weddings, but just events. Like I love doing candids, and I do a few like award ceremonies, like dinners, ones for what is it? Indiana Pathology Science or something. Just a bunch of smart people. I don't know, but I just sit back and just take candids. So yeah, so I would love to do more of that.
Yeah, it is fun. It's like behind the scenes almost. Like no one sees you there, and you're capturing those moments that no one expects. So
Yeah, but I would love to get into video too, though. Like I mean, some of the stuff that you've probably been able to do, I think I would love to watch or even do just like you said, the behind the scenes, you know. But we'll go down that path a little bit. What's some of the like coolest things you feel like you have videoed or maybe been a part of?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I'm a huge Jesus Culture fan. I went to Jesus Culture Church, and so I did a ton of their music videos. Um, Matt Redman, got to meet him several times and do interviews with him. And Chris Tomlin, I actually ran camera at one of his big shows, which was kind of cool.
Oh wow.
I was at the stage, front row filming him. So that was really cool. Doing a music video for Hillsong United. And this is kind of all in the worship world, so that was really cool to shoot the music video with them.
Yeah.
We did a couple celebrity weddings. One of the coach of the 49ers, his daughter got married, so we filmed her wedding, which was kind of cool. What else?
Justin
that,
Bieber's wedding.
Yeah, that's it.
I forgot to mention him. I mentioned the 49ers coach's daughter, but
the Biebs. Before that, I did stagehand work, which was kind of cool. Setting up and tearing down concerts, and so seeing all these big shows, like literally standing next to the security guard at the front row, like Cher, like Bruce Springsteen, Aerosmith, all these people that I'm setting up their drum sets for them, and WWF. I did WWF, and
oh wow,
in the middle of the arena, and I actually literally ran into Vince McMahon one time. We were
no way
at the same time. We kind of I just stood back. He's as tall as I am. I was like, "Whoa, excuse me, sir." Just
yeah. That's a big man. That's a powerful man in that world.
Yeah, it is. So doing things like that was a lot of fun. Just
yeah.
being in that world and behind the scenes stuff. I love it. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool. Yeah, I remember you posting some videos of you like with the basketball players and stuff, and I'm just like, gosh dang, dude.
Yeah.
Who?
The Sacramento Kings. Yeah, doing the promo videos for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a commercial, actually an HVAC commercial with Boogie. What was his last
Cousins?
name? Yeah, Boogie Cousins. We did. So he was there in the studio with us shooting the commercial. So that kind of stuff's fun. So
those are some big dudes, I'm sure.
They are. And he had entourage with guys that were about his size. It was crazy. They're all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, what else going on with you guys' worlds? Anything?
Blake, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What does it feel like to be 40?
Oh yeah. Man.
We're in the cloud.
Dude, right. It has kind of hit me a little bit different.
It's your back go out.
Yeah, my knees immediately started aching, so a little bit more.
Par for the course.
Yeah. No, I think it's just that typical, like, all right, man, what are you doing with your life thoughts? Like, all right, this is potentially halftime. Like, what, are you proud of what you become? Do you want to become more? Do you want to, how can you become a better dad, better husband, better friend, even doing these podcasts, like, what are you doing? Like just kind of that thought, like, what's, what are you doing, man? Where's the next 10 years, what, like I was thinking about this, like in my 30s, I brought in 2 new kids, 2 new humans into this world just in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm not doing that in the next 10 years, by the way. I can't handle any more girls. I mean, I love them, but I really like them when they're asleep. No, just kidding. So I mean, I do. Yeah, it does hit me a little bit about a little bit different. Did it hit you guys? Do you feel like when you hit your 40s?
Ryan, I'll let you take that one.
I don't think it did, and not maybe not right at 40. And I started thinking about what causes a midlife crisis like that. But one of the things that kind of strikes fear into me is knowing is like as you get older, your options get more and more limited. I'm too old to join the police department or the fire department, and all these choices I could do maybe in my early 30s. I was like, I could bail and just do this now. I'm kind of set, and this is what I'm gonna be, And
yeah, that's a good point.
So that's a little daunting. It's like, man, make sure you have, you're happy with what you're doing when you hit that age, because you do start losing your options. So
Right. And I feel like there's so many people that are still trying to figure out what they want to do. I mean, that's how I am. What career path to go in, and because we've talked about this before, but sometimes you just fall into a great career path and it leads to this, this, and this, and this, and then you do really well, and then sometimes you get stuck at a company and you don't go anywhere, so it's just, yeah, it's interesting how the paths lead, I guess.
I've met
What?
so many people here in Cleveland who, there's a ton of big corporations, big companies here. And I've met a ton of people that just started working at the company when they were 23 and they retired when they're 65 at the same company. And
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, what is that like? Is that a life of boredom, or is that a life of stability? I don't know what does that feel like to just go through your career punching a clock,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's a little bit of both. I mean, I think some of it is, well, at least I'm getting paid and I like the people who I work with. And, it is what it is. The more you make, the more you spend. So I'll just stay here. Like it's just, I don't know. I'm not good at leaving jobs. So I'm one that I feel like I stick around probably too long, So, but yeah, so I'm kind of in a, weird path in my career right now too, trying to figure out, not to be boastful, but it's like you you got specific characteristics that are good, that you do little things well. You kind of notice it just in relationships or just tasks during life, and it's just like I just got to figure out how to make money. like,
exactly. Or find that job that is specific to that characteristic. How can you get a job that makes that shine, so it propels me forward?
Right, exactly. Because like I love to teach and I love to teach and coach and all that. So there is part of me that always says like a specific type of sales I do think I'd be good at. Like if it's a product I really believe in, I stand by, and I just got to tell you about it. I got to educate you about it and explain to you that like, look, this is why it's better than XYZ or whatever. So, but I think also finding the right path, the right, like I said, the right thing to sell or to, because you want it to be naturally something you believe in, something you enjoy. Then you can, like, that's what, like, I always say this: if I can sit down in front of you and talk to you about my photography, there's a good chance I'm going to convince you to use me, because I'm going to show you my passion of literally capturing a moment that's never going to be relived again. Like I get joy from that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know, man. Right now it's just all talk. I'm not doing anything about it. So
Just talk. I've listened to a podcast. A guy named Jordan Belfort, I think is how you say his name.
uh-huh.
He's the guy that they made the movie about, called Wolves of Wall Street.
Oh
And
yeah.
he was a selling machine, but got kind of selling the wrong thing, wound up going to jail for it. Did time. Now he comes out, he's got a podcast called Sales School, and it's some of the things he talks about it's not about the product, it's about selling yourself, and because
Yeah.
and getting the customer to like you and to trust you, because customers buy from people they love and trust, so.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you're just confident in your product and they like you, they're probably going to buy from you. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree. What about you, Derek? How about we kind of started chatting. Are you still with us?
I've had 2 naps already. I'm feeling pretty good.
Between the HVAC talk and the
Hey,
photography
The
talk.
photography.
HVAC.
What's that? What did you say?
HVAC. It's fine.
Well, yeah. I mean, talking about being in your 40s, I turned 45 this year. So, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm halfway there. Because I told Vanessa multiple times, if I live to be 90, I'm punching out immediately. So 45 is the halfway point, right? So I got to start focusing in on what I'm going to do. But I echo Ryan's comments about limitations, right? Because, I don't feel like I have many avenues to travel. I mean, I've got such an awesome dad body right now. I've been wanting to be a Christian exotic dancer, but I'm limited, so exotic.
The Lord.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
They all need Jesus too, right? But no, it does kind of stand out to you more in your 40s. So I truly do echo what Ryan just said. But I also have to be honest with you and say the age or the number that really got me, believe it or not, was 26. I remember specifically that day, I was actually bummed because I felt like that was, a big turn in my life. 25 was magical because it's like, oh man, I'm kind of an adult now. And I, got married when I was 25 and I turned 26. I struggled for a day or two because I thought, all right, 30 is not that far away. And then I'm going to be really old at 40. Well, now you flash forward and I'm 45 and I'm like, golly, I feel ancient at this point. I look back at 26. I didn't know anything. I was a babe.
I wonder why 26. I mean, that's such a weird number, especially for you to remember it.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one other person that I've talked with, this particular conversation about age and, the number that hit you the most. And I've only come across one other person that had 26 stand out to them. It was awesome to be 24, 25, because you felt like you were really no longer a kid. You're getting more experience in the workplace, whatever, maybe a little bit bigger paycheck, what have you, might be putting some of your college to, use. You're feeling pretty good about life. And you hit 26, you're like, man, it's not even long before I'm 30. And that seemed old to me at that point.
Right.
But yeah, it's wild. I still, fairly healthy overall. So I'm glad I still got my health, just trying to find a way to keep it, So.
I say that a lot too. It's like, I want to play as many sports as I can right now, because it's so close. Like it's like, I know that 50, 60 years old is going to be so hard, so it's like I might have 10 more years if I'm lucky to get some sports in, as far as, well, basketball, I don't get to play that much, but we do volleyball, and that's really it right now. But yeah, I would love to get back on the court. But are you still playing basketball, Derrick?
I retired again.
Did it hurt? It hurt too bad?
We had, yes, it did actually. So this finger I broke, more than likely I broke. It won't heal
nice.
right. That was the second game of the season out of 9 games scheduled. We had 2 left, and I called my boy up and I said, I'm done, because I had spent 4 games in a row going home at the end of the game and taking 3 or 4 days to get my right Achilles to not be sore. And so I found out I had Achilles tendinopathy, which is Achilles tendonitis, I guess is the more common name for it. And so it's basically, if you're not careful, your Achilles will start to deteriorate, and then you run the risk of a rupture or a tear. Well, that's pretty scary for me, because I've seen, busted up Achilles, and it's not pleasant and it looks horrible and you have to have surgery. So I'm like, I'm out, I'm done. It's not that important to me. So,
man, that's interesting to hear, because I've been this has been for years, but I've been getting cramps real bad, but my Achilles has been hurting a lot for the last probably couple years. And every time I'd play, I would always just be like, man, I wonder if like that's just eventually going to tear, because it should not. And I'm constantly stretching my calves and whatnot, trying to tighten it. Or do they?
It can, and that's the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
And so there's ways of going about preventing it, or helping it to get better. But the description of Achilles tendonitis is it's more common with middle-aged men that play basketball on the weekends, and they've played basketball after a long absence. Yes. Yeah. And so I only playing 1 season a year. And so when you start playing again, you haven't played in several months. Well, you're a prime candidate, because I meet all the other criteria. So it was just check. And I'm like, you know what? I've self-diagnosed. I used a good site to actually make sure I was reading properly. No way I'm paying a doctor to give me that prognosis, because I already kind of knew what I had. So I was just honest with my friend. I said, yeah, it's time for me to retire like Jordan. Got to do it the second time. So it's the only thing I have in common with Michael Jordan. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's such a bummer, man. It's such a reality though, where it's just like you just can't. I don't know, man, because they always say staying healthy and running and all that's what you should do, but it's like, yeah, but it hurts. Like everything hurts. Like my my joints don't seem to like it that much. So,
well, running on a treadmill, I'm fine with.
Really? That's so boring.
Yeah, it is, but you got to find you a good podcast that helps.
I don't know of any that are worth listening to while I run.
Oh, there's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
But that helps me out. If I run on concrete for a long period of time, my knees get a little tender, not real sore, but I just don't like running on concrete. It's hard on your back too, and your hips.
Yeah, it is.
But running on a treadmill, and I only run maybe 1 mile to 2 miles at the most. It's not a lot, but I try to do it 3 or 4 times a week just to stay active. And that does help. It doesn't help you with playing adult basketball with grown men who want to relive their teenage years. That was the other reason I wanted to retire, because it's embarrassing, honestly. I'm playing, check this, right? So I'm playing a 40 and over league, right? So you would think everyone would want to be honest about it, right? Because if you're 40 and above, you're way past your prime. So you don't have anything to prove, right? That's how I'm thinking. I show up, the first game, I've heard more trash talk than in the previous 44 years of my life combined. It was the most embarrassing experience. I'm like, these guys, the best quote that I heard, trash talking quote, was a guy that was on another team. One of our guys fouled him. Could have been me. I don't know. The referee didn't call it. He started complaining immediately. This is like the first 2 minutes of the game. And he said, and I quote, "Ref, when I go, that means I got fouled and it's an and one," end quote.
Oh, Lord.
I'm like, this is going to be a long season, because these guys are playing like they're former NBA champions and they got something to prove. So yeah, it's really embarrassing how men get on the basketball court.
I think that's just men. I think that's just the competitiveness in men. And I think some of it's healthy to get out. I mean, the trash talking, you don't need that, but just to like, no matter how old you are, you still kind of get out there and get those juices going. And that, like, I think it is. And that's what I miss about just going and playing. It's all for fun. I would much rather just play in an open gym than a league. I'm kind of like you, Derek. Like, I don't, I'm not, throwing elbows when I grab rebounds, because I'm trying to go to work tomorrow, and I want to give you a high five if you hit a good shot. I don't need to give you my best, Larry Bird trash talk or whatever. So,
by the way, he's known as a good trash talker. I've heard Larry Bird.
Larry, he's one of the best.
Yeah,
one of the best.
He, Jordan, Charles Barkley, Alonzo Mourning, those guys were great at trash talking.
Yep.
George Emery. Shout out to George. Love George Emery.
He always seems to get brought up on these podcasts.
Oh yeah, he's a legend.
That should become your stick. You got to bring up George Emery.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you guys mentioned treadmills. Hey, have you guys ever ran on the treadmills that aren't motorized?
No.
It's
like running on air.
No, it's like a curved treadmill. It's kind of like this, and so as you on it pushes through, and they use it for sprinting, but it's powered by you running, and it is hard to run on those.
Really?
Because you have to control your speed on where your front foot hits. So basically it's a self controlled. Anyway, we had a gym in Sacramento that had one, so I'd get on that and do sprinting basically. So it was tough. So if you ever get a chance to do it,
there's so much.
They're like a bow shaped. If you see one,
I've seen those. Yeah.
There's so much new workout equipment. I wouldn't even know how to use some of it. I'd be like, I'm just trying to walk. This thing's talking to me. Like, how did it know how much I weighed as soon as I got on it? It's like, it's crazy. So, all right, boys, we can wrap this one up, man. It was good just chatting with you guys.
Man, it's good to have Ryan on.
I know.
It was very unexpected.
Have you ever done a podcast at all?
No.
Really?
On the other side of the camera.
I know. Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's that was the hard part for me, was getting in front of the camera. I was like, I don't, but I like it being visual.
Hang on. What, you are shy in front of the camera? How's that even possible?
I don't know. I mean,
you're half Graves. No, your DNA says you're to be in front of a camera somewhere at some time.
I kind of know that, but it's like I like to entertain, but I don't want it to be like, oh, everyone look at me, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm promoting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been that guy and not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's why I kind of hid behind the camera.
Well, before we go, let me leave you guys with a good dad joke.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I
we
thought
Right.
for
we
sure.
all got our best ones here.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Ryan,
Ryan always has jokes. This will be worth it.
he's got a whole list of it. So Ryan, did you hear about the truck that crashed in Cleveland today? Was carrying a big load of Vicks Vapor Rub. Fortunately, there was no congestion for 8 hours, though.
Traffic was clear. Nice.
So, yeah, it's pretty
Is
good.
that all you got?
Is that
Let's see. How do I think of this one? Why do Danish ships have barcodes on the sides?
so they can Scandinavian?
Yes, so when they enter the dock, they can Scandinavian.
That must be a Ryan joke.
Hey, you know, the other one was you hear about the air freshener that releases the scent or whatever. It's controlled by your brain. It's a new invention. You know, it makes sense if you think about it. So
It's so stupid. Oh man, are we done?
No,
Derek's got one.
I got more.
Derek's got
come on,
one.
Derek.
So this morning I swallowed a stack of Scrabble tiles by accident. I'm afraid of my next poo might spell disaster. That's dumb. That's a Jason Daly joke right there.
No,
Shout out to Jason Daly.
Cardi B, the famous singer, rapper, girl, whatever her name. She has a sister who she's actually a personal trainer. Her name's Cardio.
It's so stupid.
Ryan, what's the name of that actress that she killed her fiance? Reese. Am I telling it right?
Yeah, she stabbed him.
Reese.
Reese Witherspoon.
No, she stabbed him with a knife.
How's the joke go? I already forgot it.
Reese. I know this one.
No,
It's
no.
so stupid.
You're supposed to say, you say, did you hear about that actress that stabbed her husband? He said,
Oh, that's right.
It was Reese Witherspoon. No, it's with a knife.
I'm sorry I butchered that one.
Yeah, it's still funny because I knew that one.
The punchline.
Yeah, it's still funny.
That's a great one.
Let's see. Did you hear about about 2 weeks ago, I opened my refrigerator and a tub of margarine landed on my foot. And I think it broke it, and I just can't believe it's not better.
That's so stupid.
Oh, man.
It must be late.
Hey, do you guys know how you saw the letter C in half? With a seesaw.
My God. See, you guys would go all day with
Did
these.
you
I don't
know-
remember dumb jokes.
You
I've
know-
got one. I've got
You
one,
got
but
one joke?
I've got one, but it might be
again.
it might be racist, and I think you told me it, so I'm pretty sure it is.
Derek told it.
Ryan told you this one.
You may say it.
I don't even know what it is.
You can always
Oh,
clip that out.
Let me put a disclaimer in first.
I
For
don't-
anyone
I mean, I
listening
don't
to this podcast,
I don't think it's racist. It's not racist at all. I don't think.
it's spoken by a white man.
What do you call a black man walking on the side of the road? A pedestrian.
Oh, thank God.
Well, what's funny about that joke is where everyone's thoughts probably go to. You know?
Oh, everyone thought of every racist joke they've ever heard immediately.
Oh
man.
what do you call? I swear you know that. I'm pretty sure Ryan told me this, and I still love it. What do you call black kids playing in leaves?
That's not mine. I don't even know.
It's not mine.
Raisin Bran. Come on. Don't have to cut
Jesus
that
loves
out.
me. This I know. For the
How's
Bible tells me so.
Is that a King James version joke?
Oh, that's so funny. I'm
Yes,
sweating
it probably
over here.
is, unfortunately.
Okay, I got one more.
Oh, gosh.
Statistics say that women who carry a little extra weight live longer than the men who mention it.
A lot
You
of
gotta
truth to that one.
You gotta say that one like you have to make sure you verbalize that one great to get that one through.
He lives longer.
A lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is that it?
I hope so. Dear Lord.
Hey,
I know. Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you could go for days. Excuse me. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, fellas. It was fun.
yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
good.
It was fun. Enjoyed it.
Yep. All
We'll do
right.
it
That's a
again.
wrap. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you soon.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.